Shanti. Today I'd like to talk about sender and receiver. So to quote John from Revelation, he says, "For nothing in the world is of God. For nothing in the world is of God." And I talked about John's revelation in the Emerald Path. And John is lifted out of the world thought, out of the world order, which is actually chaos. He is lifted up out of the world hypnotism. The hypnotism of the senses, of the sensible world, if not the reasonable world. And in the sensible world, the beast is materialism. And in the world of the senses, the beast is mortal matter. And he, John, received the vision from the sender of the vision. He received the vision from the sender of the vision. And it was received not in a letter outside, but within himself. And the within himself receiver of the vision from the sender, which is the source, is really the place and where time and space collapses. And so he had broken the circuit of body consciousness and was in a one-to-one, soul-to-soul relation, activation in Christ consciousness, and freed from the mortal sensory hypnotism, this mortal coil, as Shakespeare espouses. And in the singularity of the soul, the source's message, the sender of the message from the source, is received. And this is the art of the sender and receiver. So you will have to be activated in spirit in order to receive the signal being sent by the sender. The Mother, Father, God, the source, is the sender. I am infinite, a Father above, sending the signal to the below, the receiver of the signal. And through the finite, I am a Son. So that emancipation is found in knowing you are a soul. And the gnosis is to know. The knowledge is just to know that you are a soul. You are an eternal soul. You are an eternal spirit. You are a point of light, able to transcend time and space. This is the infinite being. This is the eternal you that is forever. And so a mortal in their finite life, in the film of their life, with a beginning and end, a mortal never really was, but only is in man's consciousness, in the 3D sensory consciousness, the capacity of the five senses to realize and live in 3D time, and its limitations of the beginnings and endings of things in the endless wheel of mortality. So the sender sends the receiver, as does the receiver resend his soul self-substance, which ascends to the sender, the source. And it's a reciprocal relationship, a little bit like an elastic band. It stretches and then it springs back. And it's really the nature of space and energetic principles as well as really a giant elastic band. So the sender and receiver are really umbilically connected by an activation signal system. It's an umbilically, energetically, spiritually connected signal system. And the signal is in vibration, it is frequency, it is an algorithm, and it is attracted magnetically toward its own circuitry. It is attracted magnetically to its own circuitry, its own tuned-in corresponding vibration. So the mind vibrates correspondence through light waves, and the light waves permeate and transcend time and space as spirit transcends all the obstacles of matter. And the sender sends its message of vibrational energy and information through correspondence to its own family. It's conductive to the caduceus and the golden mean ratio mathematical system, and it is a reflection from the above to the below, because the above exists in the below, as the earth dangles from the womb of heaven on an umbilical cord called the axis mundi. The earth mind and the mind of man are umbilically connected, are vibrationally connected. It is a reflection, it is a mirror-like expression. The substance of a reflection that sends and reflects the signals of its own self is known as the eternal essence. It's the substance of eternal essence. Within and without all systems, through a state of awareness, of an awareness of a secondary mirror-like state. It reflects toward its secondary state, its secondary self, which vibrates back to the source, back to the sender, back through space and time of its own image. So its own image is self-reflected, it's a self-reflecting, self-referring concept, having gathered fresh coloured nuances within the very fabric of its own nature. Its own self is a reflected essence. And in a way, that source that is the sender sends out a net to gather itself, its own self, as parts of its own self, in the same way a fisherman gathers his production within a fish's net. The way Christ fishes for souls, for worthy souls, for those who are activated in and by the principles of the original image. The original image, and they are activated and formulated by their reflection of the original image, which is the living substance in the unequivocal heart, as the cornerstone of the building. So the need or requirement is to remove a disbelief or a firewall that disables the sender's signal from arriving at its destination, and this is awareness, the eternal awareness that these systems exist, that you as a receiver will need to open up the channel, as in turn on and tune into a radio station, if you like, to the signal that is constantly bombarding you, really, the soul that is. And this is eternal awareness, the awareness that these systems are and exist, is the platform from which we allow ourselves access to receive the signal. It is about knowledge. It is about understanding these principles. For if you don't know or believe these principles or are unaware of them, you will not have access to them. For how can you have access to a thing you do not know of nor understand? And learning and experiencing how they work, you will have to understand your own experience in life. The intellectual learning mind exists in the middle, the intellectual mind in the earth body. The heavenly ascended mind is above, and the material, mortal mind in the body is in the below, in the intellect of the personality. So you have the earthly man, the heavenly man, and the man in the middle, the intellectual mind, where the knowledge can grasp all three aspects of man, as man has a threefold nature. So the sender sends a signal to the receiver. The sender is the source of the signal, as does the receiver resend its signal and ascend back up to the sender, the source. In a reciprocal system, the same way in the biochemical algorithms of the mind and the heart reciprocate to each other as well. They are the above and the below as well in a similar symbol system. So the sender and receiver are umbilically connected by an activation signal. It's an activation signal. The signal is vibration. It is frequency, it is energy, it is an energetic code, it is an algorithm that is connected and attracted magnetically toward its own circuitry. Its own circuitry. So that its own tuned in corresponding vibrational essence is its own family, is its own encoded energy frequency field, the sender, the source and the receiver. The same way the looker, the seer, the mind, the knower and the feeler, that is emotional intelligence from the heart, these three are also entangled and encoded in energy frequency and quantum entanglement. So the mind, the all-mind, the centre of which is the monad, the centre of the soul, the Supreme Soul's mind vibrates and corresponds through light waves, which pass through all the obstacles of matter. All is in correspondence through vibration of the all-mind of the Supreme Soul of God, in an incorporeal communication. And it is written, God says, it is written that God says, I love all things, all colours, all shapes, all life, all my family I have made. I love all the birds and all the different shapes of birds within the body of the earth I have made. Yet some go through extraneous efforts to come up to me. These ones I hand feed because they have flown up to my balcony and thereby, through the proximity of them, placing themselves upon my balcony, are closer to me as I hand feed them. And this is in the mystery knowledge. It's just a simple process of proximity. The closer you are, the more you feel the presence of wherever you want to associate yourself. But it works the same way with the source, with God, with the sender. So the closer you are to the goal, the good goal, God, the more you will absorb his essence. This is free will in self-determinism, and the trick or the way is found in soul consciousness, soul conscious meditation. So become conscious of the soul, become aware that these systems exist, and learn and know and grow. Your mind will have to be still. There can be no ripples upon the still waters of your consciousness. The receiver will have to clear the net of his own self-communicative thoughts as a crystal pool of water that has no self-propelled ripples or disturbances. The only breath, the only spirit upon the still waters says, I am a soul, an eternal point of light in the centre of the forehead, sending vibrations of peace and love throughout the body. I am a body of perfect white light, emanating from the third eye throughout the body. The body is largely made of water. The water molecule responds to thought and feeling. And this is how we become electrically and magnetically charged and changed. The brain is a watery system, all conduced by consciousness. The blood contains hemoglobin, which is iron particles, so that blood works magnetically and connects to the molten iron core at the centre of the Earth's body and vibrates an umbilical, energetic, communicative relationship from the Earth to the human body. And we are born out of these systems, and we are born out of the Earth's body, and we live in it until we pass up to the Father's body, the all body, the body of creation. So therefore, all, that is, everything is in correspondence, sending and receiving information, energy, vibration, sound frequencies, cosmic rays, consciousness, as all is consciousness. And these are the parts and particulars of it. Everything moves in waves, in peaks and troughs, in the crests of waves, as in light waves, and the speed of light is conducive to dimensional and extra-dimensional effects, as in E equals mc squared and quantum fractal field geometry, Planck scale vibrations, and the golden mean ratio mathematics, systems within systems. The microcosm and the macrocosm are in a constant state of sender and receiver. Quantum fluctuations, fractal vibrations carrying the content packages of feelings communicate over vast distances, and distances disappear. And there's an immediate transference of emotional energy and information and communicative systems in quantum states, which obviously are faster than light speed. They're immediate, and distances disappear. And so a woman sits upright at 2 a.m. and screams. The startled husband says, "What's wrong?" The woman says something's happened to her daughter in Mexico, say, on the other side of the world. And it turns out to be true. A car accident in Mexico at exactly 2 a.m. The moment the woman woke up distraught, the daughter was injured. This is quickly and simply quantum entanglement and works from the energy of the heart. It's a heart-to-heart relationship as our hearts are entangled, both the earth to the man's body, from man's body to God, and with each other. It's a heart-to-heart communicative, umbilical, energetic, vibrational, soul-to-soul relationship, which is in the heart. The soul is linked to the heart. And this is sender and receiver. These are sender and receiver signals that work in the conscious, the subconscious, and also in the unconscious. In the unconscious state, a person may be on the operating table and find themselves out of their body, witnessing all this that's happening around them, and if courageous enough, can even travel as a spirit through the physical world, and even beyond, into the astral. And the person is umbilically connected to the body as long as it is living. This is also quantum entanglement of consciousness, known as the ka and ba, sender and receiver. So this works locally and non-locally. And in the mysteries, in the knowledge, in Egyptian knowledge, we call Egyptian, I'm not going to go into it, but the ka is the etheric body of the spiritual body. It's the reflection of the physical body. It's the etheric double, and can astral travel and is umbilically connected to the living body. So this can conquer and travel through time and space, the etheric body. And the ba is the spirit that leaves the body when it's no longer living and it flies off home again, and this is the soul. So this system of consciousness is one in essence but three in aspect. One in essence but three in aspect, as a triangle. So it's again the three aspects of man. It's spiritual, psychic, material. It's mother, father, son. It's past, present, future. It's soul, spirit, body. It's upper, middle, lower. It's sunrise. It's the day sun. It's the sunset. Sunrise known as Kefri. The day sun is known as Ra. And the sunset is known as Osiris. And each of those stages have a different magnetic impulse through the Merkaba field, through our energy field. As we do Amrit Vela in yoga, very, say 4 a.m. in the morning, there's a different magnetism linked to the magnetosphere and to the human field. It's a very high magnetic, pure, sort of virginal vibrational frequency at these three different times. And so 3 is man's number, the child, the middle age, and the old man. And all of these aspects are sending and receiving energetic correspondences and communications. As above, so below, as within, so without. The subtle fabric of the cosmos and the grosser fabric of the macrocosm. The sun, which is a sender, sends its lights and its heat to the receiver, which is all on earth, including us, where all things are in a state of sending and receiving. And hold different magnetics and different magnetic impulses and actions and reactions, chlorophyll and etc., and affect our own consciousness linked to the magnetosphere. And so in the physical, through the senses, we experience out and in. Through the senses, it's in and out. As an example, the way sight works, sending information from the eye to the brain, from outside to the inside, to the visual cortex, to the eye, to an action or reaction or an understanding and emotional reaction to what the glass eyes are looking at. So in the spiritual, through the soul, through eternal awareness of the eternal aspect of creation, through what's known as the inner ear, through stillness of mind, we are transcended and transported into the higher and highest dimensions, not through the mind, but through the heart. And it is cause and effect, and it is sender and receiver. So if you let go of classical entanglement and the classical systems of the world, and that's all bodies and 3D body consciousness, if you let go of all that is of a body in the earth, that is body consciousness, you develop a quantum entanglement. For each incremental value that you let go of the classical world and classical physics, it will be automatically replaced with a quantum entanglement. This is the secret of what's called magic, real magic. You don't have to think this up, it's automated. If you get your phone and you plug it in electrically, it will just charge. In the same way, these are natural components of the way we are. It's a natural, albeit supernatural component of our lives and our understanding of it. And because we have been made for this, we are made and designed for this. A phone is made and designed to be plugged in, to be charged through electricity, through the application. We are made as well the same way to have these experiences of the sender and receiver, as John in Revelation, of the inner ear, of hearing the source and the spirit. It's a bit hard to talk about, really, to be honest, in any depth, but just let it be known that we're designed for these things, to be highly tuned and to have a sympathetic resonance. I won't get too much into that. I was just sort of skipping over the surface with these talks, but so the supernatural component of our lives, our understanding of it, and because we have been made for this relationship, as all things also have been made for this, it is an automated, as I said, development. So the teacher says, you reach 50% and I reach the other 50%. And things have been designed for this way. It's not all ad hoc, that you will be helped and lifted up if you make the effort. You know, Jesus shows us to reach up from our brain waves, reach up above the idea of ourselves into the ascended state, and he will reach down and he will pull us up. So if we reach 50%, he'll reach 50%, but you have to make the effort to reach up. You have to reach up to the above. You have to send a signal to the source with self-discipline and with purity of mind, clarity of heart. And so as the embryo develops into a bearded man of a good age, it is part of our encoded development systems. And we go from body consciousness to soul consciousness. And you can thank the Creator for that, for giving us the opportunity to be more than we think we are, more than what we think we are, more than what we're told we are. We want to be better, we can be better. We are, can be, and are designed to have a special relationship with the one of all things, with the great mind, with the source. The sender, the one that made you as a gift to life, not a burden. You'll have to become disciplined into the knowledge and to learn about these systems and to be aware of it and to develop yourself into the eternal awareness of the fact that you are an eternal being. And develop yourself and discipline yourself into the knowledge and understanding of all things, because you need to understand what life is and what it's about, and only awareness and educating yourself about these things will do that. And learn to walk again so that you can fly, and to fly home again into the heart of the one that is endlessly sending you his love. Receive it and correspond. So that's the essence of the systems of sending and receiving, from the microcosm to the macrocosm and through the fabric of all systems and all living beings. All is in vibrational correspondence with the great mind, the soul, the source, who sends us his essence all the time. He says, I'm knocking on the door, I'm knocking on your door endlessly. So receive and become one in the one state. I hope this is helpful. Om Shanti.